Alright everyone, so I'm going to show you how to draw a simple realistic eyeball. You're going to need a pencil, a permanent writing utensil, and an eraser. Now your permanent writing utensil can be Sharpie, it could be a marker, it could be a pen, anything that does not erase. Alright, so the first thing that you're going to do is we're going to be drawing the iris, which is the colored portion of your eye. And so we're going to draw a circle. Now the circle doesn't have to be too big or too small. Try to make it about quarter size. Okay, and then we're going to draw a couple of guidelines to show us the shape of our eye. So this first guideline is going to cut off a portion of the top of your circle. I made a mistake, so I'm going to use this top line instead. Keep it at an angle so that way the left side is smaller than the right side. And then we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. Of course, the bottom, do not cut it off as much, just a little bit. Now we're going to draw the bottom curve of our eyeball. And then of course, the top curve of the eyeball. And then make sure that both of these curved lines connect basically in the middle on the right hand side. And then you also want to make sure that the left side of your eye is wider than the right side of your eye. Okay, so now we're going to be drawing the tear duct, which is kind of like a V or a C shape, depending on how curved you want it. And then we're going to go ahead and continue that bottom line all the way up to reach the top curved line of your eyeball. You want it to basically look like that tear duct is just on the outside of the shape of your eye. So this bottom portion should just connect. Continue on. So now we're going to draw the pupil, which is a smaller circle. You want to make sure that this circle is basically in the middle of those two lines for your eyeball. Now we're going to draw a line above the top, and essentially this line here is going to end up being the crease of your eyelid. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing here on the bottom. Again, this one here is not going to have as much space between it. And if your lines are all messy, don't worry, this is just your sketch. When you go over with your permanent writing utensil, you should be able to erase these. So we're going to be working on the bottom lashes first. You're not necessarily going to be drawing them on this bottom line for your eyeball or the line underneath it. You're going to be drawing kind of in between. And these are just little curved dashes. Kind of think of it as like a globe. And when you come towards the center of the iris, you want to make your lines a little bit straighter. They don't necessarily curve as much. If you want to make it look a little messy, a little more realistic, add a couple of them in there that go off in a different direction. It kind of gives it a more of a realistic feel because eyelashes aren't exactly completely perfect. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing to the top with these top lashes. Again, not necessarily on either one of these lines, and that top line is supposed to be your eye crease, the eyelid crease, so you're going to be drawing them closer to the top line of your eyelid. And again, same thing, these lines here, they gotta curve out to the outside, and then as they come towards the center, they kind of straighten out just a little bit. And of course, I mean, eyelashes are eyelashes depending on how short or how long you want them. Women, of course, will have longer eyelashes. Men will have shorter ones, maybe thinner ones. Okay, and that's it for the pencil part. So I'm going to put away my pencil, and I'm going to get my permanent marker, which I use a really fine Sharpie. Keep in mind the ones that are defined as fine are actually pretty thick. So I used the really fine one, almost like a pen. Okay, so I'm gonna trace the outline of my eyeball first, including the tear duct. Remember, try not to jump too far ahead with the tracing, so that way if there's a line that you're not supposed to trace, you don't end up tracing it. Then I'm going to trace the iris. And of course, as you're tracing, if there's a line that it doesn't look right, you can always fix it. Trace the pupil. Trace the crease for your eyelid. And then the line underneath it. And then all of your little eyelashes. And of course here, again, if you don't like the look of those eyelashes that you drew in pencil, you can always adjust them with this pen. But remember, it's a permanent pen or a permanent marker, so once you've traced it, you won't be able to erase it. And then we're going to go up to the top. And again, same thing. If you don't like those eyelashes, you can always adjust them or fix them. But remember, since it's permanent, you won't be able to erase it. And so I kind of just tried to make it look like the center of my eye, the eyelashes were a little bit longer. And I tried to make those eyelashes form almost kind of the same shape of the top of my eyeball. Just so that way it gives it that nice even flow and it makes it look a little more realistic. I even made some of the eyelashes towards the bottom on the right curve a little bit into the eyeball white part. Okay, so now I'm going to get my eraser, putting away my marker, and we're just going to erase all of our pencil markings. Remember, just be very careful while you are erasing that you don't end up folding your paper, end up ripping your paper. You want to do it nice and easy so that way you don't ruin your drawing. Okay. So I'm actually going to go back with my permanent marker and make a couple of these eyelashes a little bit thicker, a little bit darker, just so that way you can see them, because I noticed that once I erased all my pencil markings, they ended up getting a little too thin. There was too much white space that I wasn't able to see when there was pencil there. And so I'm just going back, especially towards the right hand side, and just adding in a couple of more or making those eyelashes thicker. And again, it's based on your preference. You want a lot of eyelashes, you want a little bit of eyelashes, it's up to you. Okay, and I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to take my pencil, I'm going to draw the reflection of light that's inside the iris, just so that way it makes my eyeball look glossy. I'm going to draw a little rectangle and a triangle that kind of curves with the pupil there. And then I'm going to trace it with my permanent marker. And then of course you can erase it, the pencil markings. And that's it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my video. Thank you.